I'm here with Bomani J story, the writer and director of The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. And this was a pretty fantastic movie. I'm a fan of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and that's coming through loud and clear on this one. Um,
Yeah.
what was that, guys? I guess kind of the antithesis of this.
It came from the literature, really. That's where I was most inspired by. And when I read it, I just realized from a lot of adaptations that come from this tale, they leave a lot of stuff on the floor that I thought was really, really interesting. And so I wanted to do, my own version of that. So it was a mixture of that and, my muse was my two older sisters who I grew up with. And so with the mixture of all that really gave me the passion to really seek and pursue this story.
Yeah, one of my. It's been a while since I read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but I remember one of the bits of that was Dr. Frankenstein was really into alchemy. He got a lot of crap from his peers for that, and eventually grew out of it. But Vicaria is a bit different. She's kind of ahead of her time as far as her knowledge of science goes, even to the point where she's making great points to her teacher, and her teacher is not a very good one by my estimation.
Yeah, yeah.
Dad, where did that come from? You got some sort of backstories with teachers that don't listen, or just people not listening to science in general?
Yeah, I just remember around my kitchen table with my family when we're sitting, one of our legendary stories that we're always talking about is literally that one that happened to my one of my big sisters while she was in the classroom, and the teacher refused to call her by her name and would call her something else, and it was just very dehumanizing. And so, then my sister said what she said. So yeah, it was a very that's kind of where that all came from.
I also love the scene where shortly after that, Chad comes in like a wrecking ball, talk to my daughter. And my mom was the exact same way. Like, she would assess the situation, and if we were wrong, we'd get the crap kicked out of us. That's how parents do it. But
Yeah.
if we're not wrong, then the other person has to face the wrath of my mom, which you don't want to be on the wrong end of that stick.
Yeah, exactly. Parents coming in for the kill. You always want to watch out for that. So just wanted to give him his moment. It was important because growing up, that's kind of, that's how it was. When we would deal with weird like that, the parents would be the ones that would come in, or at least my parents would come in to, come salvage the situation. And yeah, like you said, you don't want to be on the wrong end of that.
I guess technically it's not your first feature length, because you've written a movie that you didn't direct, but this is your first writing directing. I guess talk a little bit about the script you wrote prior to this, and kind of what it's like going from shorts to jumping into a full feature.
The script I wrote before this was Rocksteady Row, and I did that with my one of my closest friends, Trevor Stevens. And that was a blast. Especially working with him, and being in the trenches with him for it. Yeah, I had a great time writing that. It's like, and then doing the whole slam dance thing and the grand jury win. Like, it was such a phenomenal experience. But moving from there to something that to get into my directorial debut with this one, and writing another script, it was definitely working a different mode in my brain because I was dealing with horror, but it was still moving in the same space of genre blending, which is something that I really enjoy.
Yeah. Is there any fear that goes into that, or are you just like, screw it? If it sucks, it sucks. If it's great, it's great. But I'm just gonna go in there and take it.
This is a boring answer, but I kind of consider it both. Of course, there's going to be fear because, I'm doing my best to try to tell a story, tell it right, and be sensitive, and while also pushing the boundaries of what I think need to be pushed, and exploring the craft. But it's also, there also is another side of me that's just like, it, right? Like I think, like, it's like, why not throw everything I can at the wall? What's the worst that could happen? And I need to see what works and what doesn't, so.
Yeah, that's usually the best way to go about stuff, because fuck them if they can't take a joke. But I mean, I mean, lucky for you, you came out with a banger, and a lot of first-time writer-directors, some people slip, some people hit the ground running, and you seem to do the latter. So, congratulations on that.
Well, thank you. Really hoping that it, finds an audience and connects with somebody.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
what was kind of because you had a lot of practical effects and gore effects and the touch of my heart, being a fan of horror.
Yeah.
What was it like playing in that kind of area?
It was so fun. Our team, led by Christina Cordum, she was a one-woman band doing all these blood and effects of them. Like, she did all the creature effects, and she did all the gore of like the kills. She did all that stuff. And so it was a blast working with her. She's so good at what she does. So I had a phenomenal time, doing that. And it's one of the funner parts of the movie because it's so disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely like it was definitely gory, but like it had like a kind of a realistic look, because usually you have like gore and it's just like way too much blood, and that's fine. And this one's kind of, and then you have the super realistic, and this one kind of rides that line where it's like almost to the crazy, almost to the realistic, but it's just kind of that hit the nail on the head there. And there was a couple parts where she's digging through the bodies and like sewing stuff up. And I'm just like, oh.
Good. That means Christina did her work. She did her job. I love that.
Yeah, definitely. A question we asked everyone is my co-host has a what's in the box segment. And in the box, we have a bunch of movies that people put in. They're movies that are either like lesser seen, maybe it's just something that's real special to you, but just something that you'd like more people to see. So then you can talk to them about it.
Okay. So like an obscure movie for me that's, in my head. I mean, an appropriate one to bring up would be The Fountain. I adore that movie. Even the line, death is a disease, like that's from The Fountain. It's my, my homage to Aronofsky. So yeah, I would say The Fountain's a movie that I wish more people would see so I could talk to them about it.
It's actually crazy. Actually, that's a really good example from what we were talking about earlier, because Darren Aronofsky is one of those guys that just makes movies, and it's like, fuck you if you don't like it. This is the movie I'm making. And beyond your homage to him, you seem to take your filmmaking in that same light. So pretty good, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, I've always admired filmmakers like him, and that can just, like you say, just so brave, and push buttons and go into material the way they do, not only just like the types of stories, but also just, the style of the filmmaking has always had such a beat your own chest kind of thing, and such bravado to it that I always really enjoyed.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed this movie, and I hope you take that mindset through the rest of your path in filmmaking. I can't wait to see what you come up with next.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I'll carry that. What's it called? That flame. I'll carry the flame to the next.
All right. Well, thank you, Bomani.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. This was awesome.